Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, PhD Chats. I'm so glad that you are here on this live with me. It is my birthday, as you know, and this is also my first solo live that I did. And I'm very excited because I'm going to treat tonight almost like a PhD Chats after dark. I know it's a little bit late, but you're on your phone. You may be here because you saw the Facebook post, or you may be here because you got a notification as one of my subscribers. So thank you. And I am 48 today. I am proud. I am happy to be in that group of people that are considered middle aged. It sounds scary, but we are also now the people who can give advice, right? We're at the age where people are going to be looking to us for answers, and we are not going to be the ones that know everything, but we are going to be the ones that should be learning from our experiences, right? But we've lived decades, we've gone through our 20s, we've learned, we've made decisions and had successes in our 30s, and now we're in our 40s, nearing the end. So we are of that group of people that can give advice. So can I see just a little technical issue? So I'm just going to make sure that my video is streaming. I'm looking on another device. So make sure that, yeah, all of my viewers are seeing my video. Just checking to make sure that the audio is great, and everything is being seen, so that I can give you guys the best quality experience possible. So as you are on here tonight, I'm going to talk about some lessons I've learned, right? Lessons I've learned, and some of them are things that I wish I knew when I was younger, right? It's not about regret or about wishing you could turn back, the hands of time, but it's about, those questions where they say, if you could say something to your younger self, what would you say? Well, that speaks to when you know better, you do better, right? And that could be one of the lessons. When you know better, you do better, right? The decisions that we're making now may not be the decisions, should not be the decisions that we would have made 10 years ago, right? Because we've learned, we've grown, we've matured, we have a wider perspective on life. And so our responsibility is to be better and improve and grow, not to let our mistakes burden us and shame us into stagnation, and to continue to be as amazing as we can be. So I'm going to start with my lessons I've learned, right? I know the video is kind of 48 things I've learned in the last 48 years, but I'm not going to count them. When the video is edited and posted, I'm going to make sure that those principles are there for you to use. And most of the examples I'm going to give are going to be from my own experience, right? I'm not pointing a finger. If something I say sounds like it applies to you, don't say, oh my God, is she telling my own story? This is really about making sure that we learn and we grow and we evolve into our best self. So I would love your comments. I would love your comments and your perspectives. And so let's jump in. So it is my birthday. So at some point in the video, I will be donning my birthday crown, my birthday girl tiara. I'm celebrating the joy and the gift of life and the absolute wonder of growing older and wiser and becoming better and improving, right? So let's jump into that introduction. Let us jump into Some life lessons I've learned. Tell me if you agree with what I'm saying. Some of these are things I live by now. Some of these things are things I always knew. Some of them things I wished I knew when I was younger, but now I know better. So the first one, I can't say the first because I've shared so many just in my introduction. So I'm going to start with or continue with gratitude shifts your perspective instantly. Life is hard. Things are not always going to go your way, right? We're going to have difficult moments, things that are unpleasant, things that are not preferred. But it is imperative that we take some time and we stop and we reflect on the things that are good. It sounds so cliche. It sounds like it's, that kind of just feel good messaging, but you have to stop and think about the things in your life that are going well. Think about the things that you do well and be grateful for those before you embark on fixing all the things that are not good. You will not believe how being immersed in difficulties will make you forget the things you're good at, will make you forget the best parts of yourself, the best things in your life. You will be so inundated with thoughts about your problems that you will forget that there are good things happening for you. And so you need to remind yourself of those things. You need to say it out loud to yourself before you embark on the journey of correcting and resolving problems, right? So your perspective, a posture of gratitude for the things that are going well. And I know I've heard people say nothing is going well for me. My entire life is chaotic. We have to pause because life itself, right? Life itself is a gift. So the next lesson I've learned in my 48 years is that kindness without boundaries, that's a problem. I know that all through our lives, we're always told, be kind, do unto others as you'll have them do unto you. But if you are just going to be kind and just extend yourself to others, be that nice person, say yes all the time, that is going to be a problem for you. Your kindness must be intentional and purposeful, and it must have boundaries. Otherwise, you will be experiencing abuse. You will be experiencing people taking advantage of you. It will be confusing because you're going to say to yourself, well, I'm being so nice. I'm being so kind. I'm so accommodating. How can you do that to me? Well, people eat people. We are people, but we are also predators, and we will subconsciously be searching for the pathway that we can get our own needs met, right? And that could be a service, that could be something that we need, that can be an opportunity. It doesn't matter. That is our default setting. We're looking to take care of us. And if there's a person with no boundaries and they're nice all the time and they're a yes person, we're going to go down that avenue because that will be an easy place to get what we need. So your kindness has to be with boundaries, and your kindness cannot be unbridled and just freely given, and you cannot be in that consistent space of saying yes because not everyone will appreciate that. Maybe you will meet some people that will return your kindness for kindness, but most people, because we're human, we will return kindness with abuse. And that might not always be conscious abuse, but if it is left, if it goes down to your needs or my needs, and you're super kind and you're super accommodating and you're really nice and you say yes all the time, my needs will take precedence. So be careful with that, right? That's another lesson that I've learned. And so I have trained myself and learned what appropriate boundaries are, and how to say no. I know I'm getting into other principles, but kindness without boundaries invites abuse, right? Just remember that. Forgiveness is for you. Oh my goodness. Forgiveness is not for the person. It has it almost has nothing to do with them. And for a long, long time, that word confused me. And that word, I kind of rejected the idea of having someone do something to me and then just, giving them a pass. Like, it took me a long time, even as a Christian, to really lean into that. And I'm happy to say that I just came off of a 2 week or 3 week long study on forgiveness with some of my family members. So that was really insightful. Forgiveness is not about them, it's about you. And here's what it is. You're not going to forget, right? That is not physiologically possible, right? If you're trying to forget something, you're thinking about it. So maybe in time, your mind may be filled with other things, but the idea of forgiving and forgetting, you may not forget. You may not stop feeling hurt or angry because some experiences are just that. They're traumatic, they are deceptive, they break your trust, they hurt. So you're not going to forget, right? You're going to remember, you're not going to not feel anything. But for me, a core principle of forgiveness that I have learned is that I am not wishing that something negative or cruel happens to that person. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm relieved. I relieve myself of the need for that person to encounter calamity in their life as a payback. I'm trusting that the universe, the higher beings, the divinity, God, whatever you call it, will take care of that. But I'm not walking around with this hope and this desire for whatever pain you put me through to be visited on you, because that's the burden right there. That's the problem. That person is going on living their life and you're carrying around that bitterness. So forgiveness is about, this is just one part of it, right? It's a very large, very abstract concept, but forgiveness is about releasing the need for that person to be punished, right? Releasing the desire and the hope and just working through those thoughts when they come to mind, because you're human and you're going to think about it, working through, what am I going to think? How am I going to reject, or how am I going to not hang out in that space where I'm marinating and I'm enjoying the idea of hoping that this person is going to be harmed? Forgiveness is for you. They will be taken care of. It doesn't mean I'm going to be friends. It doesn't mean I'm going to come toward you and say, it's okay. I know you hurt me, but it's not a problem. It doesn't mean that. But I'm not going to be hoping for your destruction, right? I'm not saying it's not going to happen. In my mind, I believe in karma. I believe in reciprocity. I believe in seed time and harvest. I'm just not going to be the person holding on and hoping that you are going to experience pain and suffering. And that's what forgiveness means to me. And that has helped me to be healthier emotionally, right? Healthier in my spirit. Another part of life is a perspective I almost wished I held, so that I would have embraced not necessarily desire unfortunate or unpleasant circumstances, but when they come, just embrace them and accept them. The world has darkness in it. We're living in a world with darkness, and a lot of that darkness comes from people, because as humans, we have an incredible potential for wickedness. We are deeply wicked and deeply cruel. We're also deeply kind and benevolent and philanthropic and selfless, but we are deeply cruel and wicked and dark. And so part of your existence in this world means that you are going to encounter some of that darkness at some point. So when people say, I can't imagine, I can't understand, how could someone do that? That's so crazy. How could someone, that's the craziest thing. Can you imagine? It's so mind blowing. It's never mind blowing to me. I mean, of course, some things make me cringe or cry or, feel fearful, but my mind is never blown when I hear about the cruelty and the wickedness and the selflessness that exists in people. So knowing that when you see it or when you encounter it, it's not perplexing. It's just our job to be prepared to protect ourselves, to protect others, and to make wiser decisions and to move away from that darkness, move away from people, move away from uncomfortable positions. So I am happy, and I wish I had known to just expect that there are going to be unfortunate circumstances because there are people around you. And once you're around people, you're going to encounter darkness, right? And that gives me a little bit of peace. It almost gives me a sense of control, right? Because I'm anticipating that something that life is part of the balance of life is that there are going to be great pleasurable things that are successful and feel affirming and celebratory, but that there are going to be dark days, right? And that's where the resilience comes in. So that is another lesson I've learned, and it's something that I talk to young people about, my students all the time, my own child, that you need resilience because things are not always going to go the way you want, and you need to be able to push through that in spite of, right? So we're trudging along, PhD Chats After Dark, right? I'm so glad that you're here. I'm seeing you on the live sharing this birthday with me. And I'm celebrating if you're in that phase of your life, if we're doing the numbers, right? If we look at life expectancy being between 80 and 90, right? I'm not trying to end anybody's life. We all want to be centurions. But if we look at life expectancy and we cut that in half, right? Middle age is somewhere between 40, 45. Sometimes when we speak, we say, oh, when I'm 50, I'm middle age, but we're there. If you're a child of the 70s, you're there, right? So as someone who is embracing the best part of life, which is improvement and growth, I wanted to share some life lessons I've learned with you, and I hope that I can see your comments. So I'm going to get to 48. I think by now I'm about 10, 12 nuggets in. So I'm going to get to 48 nuggets that I'm going to share with you in my 48 years, right? So what else have we learned from our experiences? Sometimes silence is the strongest response. And for me, that has been a lesson that I had to do some hard work to embrace, that everything doesn't require a response. Everything doesn't require your involvement. Yes, advocate for yourself. Yes, be your own best advocate. Use your language. Navigate difficult situations. Be verbally assertive. But sometimes you need silence. And it feels very disarming because your words and your assertiveness can be a superpower. That can be something that you can use to help yourself in difficult situations and to assert yourself. But sometimes, and it's wisdom and it's experience that will help you understand when those moments are. And there was a time when I did not know this, and I thought that verbalizing my frustration, verbalizing my preferences, verbalizing my disdain, verbalizing my anger, was the single best way to have positive experience and to get past difficult ones. So I had to learn that sometimes, and I'm still learning. Everything I'm saying, I'm learning still. I'm still practicing. I'm aiming to be consistent, but I'm still learning. So what about you? Do you struggle with sometimes holding your peace? And it's not the kind of holding your peace where you're shutting down and you're locking people out, right? And you have disconnected from being part of the solution. That silence is counterproductive. It's not that type of silence. It's a silence where you're in a place of serenity, you're in a place of peace, you've paused, but you're still thinking about the next steps to solve the problem, right? So that is the type of silence, and I'm growing and learning. So if you agree with that, if you've had to learn to hold your peace and to allow some time to pass before you actively pursue a solution, let me know in the comments, right? Let me know if you agree or if that approach has worked for you. Attached to that also is a reminder that part of your job is to listen sometimes and not to convince. It is, you have to train yourself to embrace the perspectives of others that are different from yours. Everyone does not see the world the way you do. We all have different upbringings. We've all had different experiences. We've learned different lessons. We've gone down different paths in life. So we have all learned and process things differently. And so it is not uncommon to share an experience with someone or to discuss a topic with someone who has a perspective that is completely opposite to yours. And your job is not to convince that person that your way is the right way or your way of thinking is the right way. Your job is to listen and to understand. And that is harder. That is harder than verbalizing your perspective. It's harder than holding your peace, right? It's harder. No, it is holding your peace, but it's harder than responding verbally. Just listening and accepting that there's a person in front of me whose perspective matters. There's a person in front of me who might need my validation, and that there is a respectful way to disagree. And everyone's perspective on everything is not the same as yours, and you're not going to respond and say, "That's crazy. I don't understand how you see it that way. What is wrong with you? You know, you must be crazy." Like, it's okay. I'm listening and I'm wondering, and I hear that you see this differently, and I might have to think about that, because I haven't encountered this perspective before. So thanks for sharing. I might need some time to respond to that, but that is also part of your job in your community, in your family, in your relationship, in your workplace, is to listen and not always be on the journey to convince. Life lessons, right? See the wisdom? You see the wisdom that life brings, and the peace and the control and the mastery. Let me tell you something about mastering and feeling in control. So sometimes people say things to you and they don't know, right, that their words really have creative power, and they're changing someone's perspective just by a little word. I have so many snippets of moments where people said things to me and it just landed in me as a seed, right? And that's part of why I do what I'm doing, because I believe that we can learn from each other, not because we're wise or we have a PhD in theology, but because our lived experiences are rich enough for us to extract lessons that help each other. That's the entire point. Life is not always easy. It looks easy on the outside, especially when you're attempting to judge the quality of someone's life by what they look like. Don't. Right? Things are not what they seem. But our lived experiences are rich enough so that we are able to help each other. And so having healthy discourse around very touchy, difficult subjects is a good thing. And so that is the peace that comes from age. That is the wisdom that comes from age. Talking about ownership and feeling in control. I was having a conversation with some support staff at this school, and we were talking about, teaching children regulation and conflict resolution skills. And someone said something to the effect. They said, when someone is able to trigger you infuriate you to the point where you lose control, that person is your master. You're looking at the person that can control you like a puppet. If you permit someone to allow you to act out of yourself, to become so angry that you lose control. And that was my healing. The idea that if I allow someone to 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 push me to the point where my behavior is uncontrolled and my anger and my emotions, any emotion is uncontrolled, any negative emotion, that person is my master, and that was it. That was all I needed to hear. So now I know that in those moments where I feel frustrated, in the moments where I feel angry, in the moments where I feel like I'm going to lose control, I have to be the master of myself. I have to postpone those feelings. I have to find an appropriate way to express them. I have to exit the space. I have to do anything but lose control. And that was it. So when I look at people, I say to myself, you're not in control of me. I'm in control of me. And immediately I have taken away that power from that person. It's almost like in your mind, subconsciously, you're saying, no one is going to master me. You are not the person. The next person is not. My coworker is not. My family member is not. No one is going to allow me, is going to make me behave in a way where I am so deeply emotional that I can't control my actions. I can't control my volume. I can't control my words. I can't control my word choice. And then when I'm done, I regret what I've said. No, because that person is mastering you. And so with experience and with time comes wisdom. And so we learn those things, right? Do not let someone master you. So believe it or not, we have been chatting here for almost 30 minutes. So I think it's a good time for me to put my headpiece on. One, this is my birthday. I'm a birthday girl, right? It is my birthday today. Birthdays have always been very special to me. I remember some of my earlier birthdays. I just remember where I was. I remember being at home and thinking, it's August 13th. It's my birthday. I'm a year older. So I treat my birthday as my own personal new year. A new year is starting. I'm a new age. I kind of make a few resolutions, nothing too lofty so that I can't hold on to it, but it's my new fresh start. So it's my birthday, and I am sharing some life lessons, some things I feel I do a good job at practicing and being consistent with. Some things I'm still learning and working on, and I'm excited to share some of those with you. All right. So the next practice that I want to share is that agreement takes time, right? Whew. Some of us live in close proximity or work in close proximity, or we're just attached to people in our families that we do not see eye to eye with, right? And that if a decision has to be made and you're at an impasse, acceptance takes time, right? It's not a shortcut. It takes time, it takes patience, it takes peace, it takes time in order to get to a place of agreement. If it's possible. Because guess what? This is another life lesson. Sometimes you may not agree on something ever. You may see something differently forever. And I mean, we all have several intimate relationships, right? When we think about intimacy, we think about our romantic partners, our spouses, fiancés, or with whoever we're dating or seeing at the time. We think of close parents, family members. We are in spaces where we have very close relationships, and there are going to be disagreements. There are going to be disagreements, and sometimes you may just have to accept that your dad or your cousin or your husband or your aunt or your neighbor or your coworker has a different philosophy about something, and that's it. You may never get to be at in the same place about things, and you just have to, when that is realized, because you will expend a reasonable amount of energy attempting to fix it. When that is realized, then you have to start working on how are we going to move forward with this difference, because you're not always going to get someone to see things the way you do, and it's okay. And I have been in situations where I thought I needed to convince. I have definitely been there where I thought the end goal was to convince someone to see something the way I do. And that is not it, right? Let me make sure that my happy birthday is turned around. Yeah, birthday girl. I hope you're seeing it the right way. I know that with the live, sometimes it's reversed. So this is saying birthday girl. I hope I have to ask my technical team, my husband and daughter, to let me know if this is on the right way. Do a little bit of tucking in of the hair so that it's not completely in my face. Okay. Okay. I thought I did, so I will try again. Okay, so let me see. Is this it? I feel like this is, so this is, okay, so I think this might be it. I don't know. I think that sometimes when you do a live, it's reversed, but this may be it, right? It looks reversed to me. Anyway, it says birthday girl. So I am going to, this is my step one of my of my headpieces. So I will be upgrading to my crown before we get to the end of our video. Let's move on. So all of the things I've been sharing are my life lessons. I had to sit for a while and think about all of the things that, I would say to my younger self, right? And we have younger selves around us because we have children, we have younger siblings, we have nieces, we have nephews, we have cousins, we have kids in the neighborhood. So those are our younger selves. And we live in community. One of the lessons that I've really learned, I mean, it will sound obvious when I say it because we've heard it all the time, but as I have grown, it has taken on a new life of its own. And that is, it takes a village to raise a child. Parents cannot do it on their own. It takes an entire community of people to raise a child. And so you may have a positive impact on a child that's not yours because you took 5 minutes to talk with them, or you send them a text, or you FaceTime them on a random Sunday evening just to chat. You're needed as an adult who is learning from their lived experiences and who is on that journey of self-improvement. You can make a positive contribution in the life of a young person, right? Their parents cannot carry it alone. There's so much supports that children need. So as a parent, as an educator, just as an adult, it takes a village. So think about the children that outside of your own, that you believe that you can make a positive impact. And if you're not a parent, think about the children in close proximity to you. How are you helping them succeed? How are you helping them avoid your mistakes? How are you helping them to be more proactive than you are? What are you doing to give them the toolkit, the skills they need to win at the things that you didn't win at initially, but now you know, right? Some of those things you may have a second chance at, right? When you know better, do better. But some of those things, the ship has sailed. But there are young people in our lives, and we have an opportunity to help them. So it takes a village. So I was talking about mindset and perspective. I'm going to jump a little bit and talk about some lessons I've learned about relationships and people. Very complicated one, right? How we socialize with those around us, our social skills, such complex topic. So I had a video that I was going to make, and I still might make it. And the video title was, I Know Why Every Marriage Fails. Very bold, right? I believe that I know the reason every single marriage, every single committed relationship that's not working, I know why. There's one thing that's missing. And that thing is, ta-da, it's unconditional love. I believe that it is very difficult to give emotionally when that is not being reciprocated, because that's how we're wired, right? It's a give and take. We're giving, we're receiving, we feel safe. There's a sense of fairness, and we feel that it fits the mold of how relationship dynamics should work, right? I give a little, you give me a little, I give you more, you give me more, and the wheel keeps turning. But there are some times when you are going to be giving 100%, and that's very scary. It's extremely scary, because what if that doesn't change? Then now it's abuse, right? Now someone is taking advantage of you. Now, the language of narcissism starts coming in. What if you're giving 100%? Because that person is in a place where there's nothing they can give, but you love this person enough. You know their potential. You reflect on the investment that you have made in that relationship, and you decide that you want to give it 100%. Right now they're giving 0, but you're going to give 100% until they get back to the place where they're contributing, right? Marriage is 100-100. It's not 50-50. Imagine if it's 50-50 and the success happens when we both meet. Imagine if someone's just having a bad day. Now they're at 45, right? There's no magic there. But if everyone is giving 100%, what I do for you because I love you, what I give to you because I love you, is not dependent on what you're giving to me. It's dependent on my belief that you deserve it. My belief that you are worthy of this love. You deserve my commitment, and I'm going to give it to you 100%, even though you're going to have days where you kind of suck, days where you're terrible, days where I have to intentionally remind myself of the potential in that person. That is what a marriage is. You have to be committed to loving this person 100%, regardless of what you're receiving. If both parties are doing that, it can work. But that is a very tall ask. And we're not really committed to loving unconditionally, right? We love our kids unconditionally, right? We give them things they can't return to us. They're not yet able to. We will do things for people who we know, who we have categorized as having a legitimate reason to not give back to us, right? An elderly relative that may be ailing, or somebody who is not in a situation to do for us the things that we're doing for them. But outside of that, we're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. Am I crazy? Do I look crazy? I'm going to give and get nothing back? No, right? That's nuts. But if you're in a safe space where that is an understood arrangement, I think it can work. I think if we become brave enough, you have to be very brave. It's extremely courageous. If we become courageous enough to love unconditionally in spite of what we are receiving, and if both parties in a relationship make that commitment, it's going to be magic. It's going to be magic, because the days that I am deficient in my commitment, the days where I'm emotionally drained, the days where I am in my feelings and being petty, where a little bit of vindictiveness is setting in, where I'm hyper focused on myself and I'm forgetting about you, when I'm not being amazing. If you are still loving me through that, then and I know that my commitment is to get back to my 100, then it will work out. But a lot of times we quit on relationships, we quit on marriages because the person that we committed to is at zero. And we are not about to give and get nothing because we're not stupid, right? And we're not going to be abused. You're not a bubbly, right? You're not going to just be someone's loopy dog, just be abused and just do stuff and you're not doing anything. Why, right? So I believe that unconditional love for a time could save relationships. Tell me. You have to tell me in the comments if this is a realistic ask. If giving for a while when you're receiving nothing because you know the potential in that person, you know that there's a lot in that person to love, even though you don't see it right now, because people act up, right? We all do. Even though you don't see it, you know that that person is lovable and is worthy of that love, and you're giving that 100 for a while. So I believe that marriages fail because we're not willing to do that. Tell me what you think, right? So I'm going to continue on. So unconditional love, we're in relationships and people. Again, we're just in relationships, right? People who care may not act like it. It's another kind of faith kind of, I see you, but I'm not sure. Sometimes people care about you, but they don't show it. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. I remember once Roderick and I went to a marriage. I mean, we've been to a lot of marriage counseling, marriage sessions, marriage retreats, marriage meet and greets, couples events. Like we've been to a lot of those. And we were at one. It was there was like a alliteration in the name. There was a marriage something happening, and we were sitting next to a couple, and this woman leaned into me and she said, because the woman we were talking, the men were talking, someone was sharing, and she leaned into me. So her and I was sitting next to each other. Roderick was on my right, so her husband would have been on her left, and she leaned into me and she said, "How do you say you love me when I tell you something hurts me and you do it anyway?" You know. And of course, I mean, it's a whisper conversation. It was such a loaded question. I just said, I know, right? I mean, I wanted to have a deeper conversation, but I think sometimes love is not limited to our behavior. Love is not limited to how we behave and act. I do believe that sometimes people love and care about you. It's just they're not vulnerable enough to show it. I think it's there. And again, it goes back to the patience and the serenity and the unconditional love that is needed in relationships. I tell people all the time, a lot of us who got married, right, or who are married or who want to get married, we are not completely clear on what we're doing. We think we know what we're doing, but we're not. If people really understood the expectation, the deep, mature, emotional expectation in a committed relationship, lifelong relationship, they probably wouldn't do it, because that unconditional love, that's an expectation. I'm not promoting abuse. I'm not promoting being someone's doormat. I mean, you have to use wisdom, right? But I am saying that the requirement, I'm leaning close to you here, the requirement and the commitment and the emotional maturity and the giving the strength that is needed to be in a successful, monogamous, enjoyable, thrilling relationship is it's tall. It's a big ask, but the rewards are tremendous. The rewards are tremendous. The peace, the safety, the freedom of just being certain of someone's love and support it's exhilarating. It's thrilling. Just knowing that that this person has your back and loves you in spite of, and you know that you're going to fall and mess up because you're human, right? You're going to do silly things, but that love is not going to be affected. Like that's a whole other conversation, right? So sometimes people love you and they don't show it. I know, and it's so hard to believe that it's there, but sometimes it is. So just be cautious of judging someone completely by their actions. They might be in that place where they have nothing to give, and it may be temporary, and it doesn't mean the love is gone. Just saying it. It's there, buried somewhere. I'm going to talk about children a little bit because that's my heart as well. Marriage, relationships, education, children, being fabulous. Like I have all of these things that are the center of my happiness. All children need a cheerleader. All children need someone in their life that tells them they're amazing, that looks at them with just enthusiasm and excitement and, anticipation. All children need someone in their life who sees them as special and who reminds them and who is looking for the good that child can do, who is almost like laying in wait to see all the things that this child is capable of and is good at and does well so that you can say it. All children. And some children have no one in their corner. Some children have no one that's rooting for them. You can be that person, right? There are multiple children in arm's length of you, and all children need a cheerleader. Adults need cheerleading. Adults need encouragement. Adults need affirmations and to be affirmed and to be validated, right? And we have lived and we have had an opportunity to grow emotionally and develop, and we need affirmations. What about children? They're navigating this confusing world. Their brains aren't fully developed. They're not quite understanding who they are and what they're supposed to do and what things mean. And they don't see their full potential. And that's our job. That's our job, to find those things and to say it to that child. You are amazing. You're so smart. Listen to how you said that. I like that. Say that again. Do you know the lyrics of that song? Can you sing that for me? I want to hear that one more time. I love the way you did this. I saw you do this and that made me feel happy. I'm so proud of you. Tell me more about this. Show me more. Show me. Tell me about this thing you just drew. Tell me about your day. All children need a cheerleader. So think about that. I think when I was younger, I kind of saw myself as a child. I had an epiphany of sorts when I became a parent. And then that was solidified when I became an educator. And I thought, oh my goodness, there are children. I remember putting Peyton to bed at night, tucking her in. She had this song from Richard Smallwood, Angels Watching Over Me. I would put it on low and she would fall asleep to this song. And my immediate thought was, oh my God, there are children without this. There are children going to bed afraid. There are children going to bed alone, terrified. There are children going to bed without the comfort and security. It just came to my mind. All children need a cheerleader, right? Be that, right? Be that for a child in your life, a child not yet in your life. I feel like in my 20s and 30s, I just wasn't thinking about that at all. I loved kids and I had kids around me in my family, but I'm constantly aware when I see a child, and I wonder if there's some adult with whom this child feels incredibly safe and incredibly special with, because every child needs that. More life lessons. Oh my goodness. So I am going to put my glasses on so I can see the time. Not that I want to leave. I'm really enjoying this PhD chats after dark. I'm seeing all my guests coming in. I know it's late. It's midnight. It's now the next day, but this is a beautiful conversation that we're having. So we have 10 more minutes. It feels really short. I feel like I'm seeing you. I'm feeling your energy. I feel the support. I feel the support and I feel the desire and the longing that you have to see me succeed. And I'll say this about my channel, right? We'll try to end it at around the 1 hour mark. I'll say this about my channel. In the beginning, I was asking people, please like, subscribe, comment. I mean, after every video, I do ask. However, I want you to hit like if you like it. And I want you to click on the video if the title interests you, because then it will be a consistent visit from you, because my channel gives you value and you really want to see what I'm saying and you're interested in my conversations. So as opposed to having people hit like and comment and and subscribe, and then the channel Chats with Petal does not fit into something that they would sit on their couch and watch, I feel more freedom in saying hit like if you like it. If this video matters to you, subscribe. If you're interested in having conversations with me, then visit my channel, put the notifications on. So when I post a video, you can come in and you can chat and you can participate, right? I want you to be invested as a willing participant. It's just like when you ask someone to do something for you, it's so different than when someone does something because they want to, right? It feels different. It's like if I have to ask someone to do it, then by the time it's getting done, no, I don't want it anymore. You want someone to initiate that giving. So I want you to share my videos if you enjoyed it, and to share it with people that you think will also enjoy it, and they will watch and they will share, so that our relationship as content creator and viewer is organic and it's natural and it feels right and it's beneficial, right? You're here with me now. I see you on there. You're here watching with me after midnight. And I know that some of us go to bed with our phones. And I'm so glad to have your company. And we're talking about life lessons, guys. If you're born in the 70s, early 80s, we're middle agers and we're living and we're supposed to be thriving, and we're supposed to be extracting principles from all the pain that we go through. We're supposed to be stamping whatever we did to what our success is. What were those things that you did before you succeeded, so that we can repeat them? And that we're supposed to have a blueprint for our lives. We're supposed to be writing down our plans and our goals and putting a date to them, right? If you have a dream or a plan or goal and it's not written and there's no date attached to it for when you're going to start working on it, then it's a fantasy. It's just this wonderful thing in your mind. So as we get older, we have to move more intentionally so that we can be people that are continually successful in all of our life endeavors, right? Let's jump in. I feel like this people and relationship section has some really great nuggets. I will share one more thing about children, right? So we know that children need a cheerleader. Children also need a toolkit. They need tools. Life requires specific skills, and kids should not be out there winging it, because no adult in their life gave them the socialization skills, the self-advocacy, the resilience, the ability to compromise, taught them how to embrace hard things. They're out there winging it because they do not have those skills. They do not possess the tools that they need in a figurative toolbox to succeed at life, right? When you look at movies about, the communities of old, and there was always the elder, and this elder was a person with all these wise sayings and proverbs to teach children. That is still needed. Children need someone to sit and teach them things. Whenever Peyton shares a story with me and I say, Peyton, let me tell you this, she's like, oh my God, another life lesson. Yes, yes, because you're learning. That's part of our responsibility as we take up space, that we're learning from our life. So children need a toolkit. They need skills, very specific skills and tools to usher in their success in the world, particularly when they become adults and they're not being shielded and advised by a parent or an aunt or a grandmother all the time, and they're making decisions on their own. Let's go into, I have so many things. I sat down and I was thinking about this for a week and I wrote so many. So I think I'm going to make another video that continues the idea of us growing and learning. And that is what a Chats with Petal is about. That's what PhD Chats is about, right? So I have my vintage 77 t-shirt on. And I think as the video closes, I will put on my crown, right? Because it's my birthday still. The entire month of August is my birthday, right? So it's my birthday month. The Leo ego is alive. And so it's all about being amazing, embracing your fabulosity, reminding yourself of how great you are, so that in those moments when you doubt your potential, you doubt your capabilities, that you can reflect on the things that you're great at. This was a crown that I ordered for my 40th birthday party, right? So it's 8 years old. I've worn it for every single birthday since, but it was coming from overseas and I did not get it in time. I was actually in Canada at the time when I got the notification that the post office took the crown back because I didn't fully write my address in or something. So I was heartbroken, but resilient. So I ran out to a mall in Toronto and got another tiara to wear to my 40th birthday party. But I've worn this for every birthday since. Every August 18th, I've worn this to the grocery store. I've worn this in front of my summer school students. I've worn this crown everywhere I am on my birthday. So I had it on today earlier on, so I must wear this crown today. It's my birthday, right? It's still my birthday. So we have time possibly for 2 more best practices, right? 2 more principles that we want to make sure that we are applying to our lives to be successful. People are struggling. And another thing that I do before I share those last 2, whenever I see teachable moments that show adults who are deficient in the skills they should have at that age, right? So road rage, for example, someone screaming through the window, someone is cursing because the light turned green and the person didn't go ahead. This is Brooklyn. This is New York, so that is not uncommon. People are losing their minds. I say to Peyton, that is an adult who has not yet mastered their self-control. If you master yours now, you will be unstoppable when you get older. When we're at the grocery store, the post office, and someone is being, dishonest, or someone is not regulating themselves, or we're on the subway, someone throws a coffee cup into the platform, I say, Peyton, that's an adult who has not yet mastered the ability to make sound choices. If you master that now, you will be unstoppable when you get older. So we're adults and we're supposed to be improving as we age. Our chronological age does not always correlate with our emotional maturity. It should, but it doesn't, barring other extenuating circumstances, of course. So we need to be more intentional about making sure that we're growing and we're improving and we're becoming better, right? So our final 2 lessons. Remember, in the comments, you have to tell me what are some things you know now. And I know the list is long, right? That you wish you knew as an adult. So I am going to say that no one is better than another. I would see people and I would elevate them and say, that's a great person, that's a great person, that's a wonderful person, that he's better than him, he's better than you, he's better, she's better. It's our choices that are better, right? We are not a better human being because we're all thinking the same thing. We're all having the same struggles. Some of us are just further along the journey of mastering how we mastering the space between our thoughts and our actions, right? We become less impulsive, we become less compulsive. We manage those inclinations. We grow and we become people who can feel something or think something but act another way, right? We're not children. We're able to function successfully, even though our minds are saying one thing, we're able to do something else, right? So that is part of our adulthood. That's part of our growth. So tell me in the comments, right? What is something that you have developed and grown into as an adult? And how prepared are you to share those things with someone else, right? We're supposed to be really being a blessing and being a positive light, right? A positive force in each other's lives. So I'm not better than you. You're not better than me. We're just in different spaces in terms of our decision making. I'm learning, I'm growing, I am maturing into being the best version of myself. And you are. So I may be having a successful time in my family life, but I'm struggling in my work relationships. You may be an exemplar employee at work, but you're having difficulty connecting with your children. You may see me explode because my journey of managing my anger is still in its beginning stages, in its infancy, and you might be further along in that space, managing your emotions, but maybe your integrity is compromised, right? So we're all just making a different set of decisions, and it doesn't mean that we're better people or we're worth more or less than the other. We're just making better choices, right? What would be a great lesson to close with, right? What would be a great lesson to close with? I know that you may be hearing the fan on the microphone, but the ceiling fan or the AC will be too much. So thank you so much for that compliment. I saw I got my comments. I had many viewers join and come in and come out, come in and come out. So thank you so much for commenting. I got your compliment. Thank you very much. And what can we end with? So the final lesson, yeah, wow, this would have helped me quite a bit in my younger years, but I definitely use it now. The final lesson is perspective is power. Use it. Perspective is power. You can change the way you approach a situation. You can change the way a situation appears just by the way you see it, just by the way you look at it, right? Sometimes when you're really in the trenches, right, and you're trudging through the mud and there's a dark, difficult situation that you feel that no one understands, and maybe you don't even have the words to verbalize it. You feel so lonely, right? Misery is lonely. It's sad. It's isolating. It's frightening. But sometimes you have to pull away from seeing the problem here, see the problem from a distance, remind yourself that nothing lasts forever. and that this too will pass. It's not to minimize the gravity, it's not to minimize the difficulty you're experiencing, but you have to remind yourself that it's going to pass and that you have to be persistent in pursuing the skills to get out of it. You have to ask for help. You have to be honest in how you pursue people to join you in your struggle, not be deceptive, not try to get people to side with you, not try to get an army behind you against someone else, not try to trick people out of what they've worked hard for because you're struggling. Be honest, exercise integrity, pursue a solution, and remain positive. Just look at the positive things. So thank you so much for every view. This was wonderful. This was very fulfilling for me. I want to acknowledge my wonderful nieces, this amazing bouquet that you're seeing here that has all of my favorite colors. I love oranges, and all the hues of oranges was made by my beautiful nieces. They picked out the flowers and they put it together, and they came over and hand delivered this bouquet to me, and it's super special. So I'm so glad that I was able to use it in my video. Thank you so much for joining me. Chats with Petal After Dark. Thank you so much for staying up after midnight. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Have a great evening, and I'm looking forward to posting the video for those who were not able to join, and you will have an opportunity then to leave your comments. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great night, guys. Bye-bye.